welcome to the special Women's Day interview series for News9. My name is Jyothi Jha, and today I will be in conversation with well-known film editor Shweta Venkat. So, basic question I'll start with, obviously. How did you come to this particular, how did you choose this particular career? Basically, everybody has a backstory of choosing their career path and stuff. So what was your story? Like, what inspired you to become a film editor?
I don't have any dramatic stories in terms of my background and all. I would say that the career chose me rather than the other way around, because I had no clue. I was one of those clueless 20-year-old who did not know what to do in life. And the only thing which I was passionate about, as any normal audience would be, is Hindi films. And that's what I grew up on. And the FTI happened. And from then on, I started enjoying what I do. So.
Okay, so there was nothing planned, basically. You just went with the flow.
Nothing was planned. It just happened.
Okay. So once you entered the industry, basically, everybody says that, editing, camera person, filmmaking, all this is like male-dominated stuff. Except for actors, everything else, it's like majority of them are males who hold this position. So how was it for you to be a female film editor? Like, was it challenging? Was it different? Or was it fine?
When I got into the field, fortunately, my upbringing has been such that I really did not have like a problem with this whole gender thing. I never took it seriously till actually I started working. And whenever people would come to edit something and they would open the room and find a woman there, that reaction was something I was not used to. I mean, there were good reactions and bad reactions. I mean, having said that, by the time I came in, or me and my contemporaries came in, there were already a lot of women who had paved the way for us, and they were very good at their fields, in respective fields in filmmaking. So that made it slightly easier for us, and people were more than anything else intrigued. Ki ab ye kya kar sakte? What can she do? With what perspective can the girl bring to an edit, or say how to shoot a film. So that intrigue then turned into confidence. Then people started liking your work. Then they started having confidence in you, and then you become indispensable, which is a nice feeling at times. So yeah, one step at a time.
Okay, so when you entered, basically, like you said, like people were intrigued, and also, was there any incident, where you thought that you were challenged or your talent was challenged? Like there is always this one person who always wants to see like what you can do, what like you just said, what perspective will she bring to film editing? So was there any incident that challenged you and your talent, and you had to be like, wait, I'll prove you with my work types?
In my initial days, there were like, I was working in advertising. I was editing ad films for close to 7 years. In those days, and it used to be like you have to be very quick at it. You kind of editing like 4 or 5 ad films a day, and, kind of making changes on a lot of films. So those days, people would be wary, and people would feel that maybe, women are not as quick as the guys could be. And the guys, I mean, there are a lot of like talented, quick editors, and the time is key. Time is money. So they wouldn't be sure whether we could handle it. And there are many times where, I had to face like a certain, situation where the person who has no other choice, but I'm the only person available, so he has to contend with me. So then that's when, you bring in your game and you say, okay, now I'll prove it to you what I can do. So that feeling is great. So once one job goes smoothly, then, everything falls in place. Then people are not wary about taking you on and stuff like that. It's a little bit of a nice feeling that you want to show it to them, like what you can do.
Yeah, but in the beginning, it's always like they judge you, like priorities are male editors, basically. Like when you're new, they don't know your work. It's always the males that they go to. Like it's easier for them.
It's irritating sometimes, but it's also your trump card. You know that you're very capable. You know that you're good at what you do, or at least you have that surety. You know that, okay, this I'm going to be good at. But I will show you when you get me on board, or you get me, because we are definitely the last resort.
Yeah.
At least earlier days, so it wasn't easy for us. So, but it's a nice feeling. It's like, I'll show you what I can do now. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, well, you have worked in so many projects, like too many projects now, like so many films and everything. So, if I will have to ask you to choose which one was, your favorite out of all the projects that you did, like excited you a lot, and also the most challenging one. So, which are those projects?
actually, both have the same answer. There was a documentary called Supermen of Malegaon, which I worked on in 2007. And that was the most challenging and the most fulfilling project, where the material that we had, it was, I mean, we knew we had gold in our hands. So shaping that was like, I had an amazing as well as a very bad time because of time limit. And I met some wonderful people on the way. So everything, together, I think that's
How
the
many?
feeling I got like, I can't better this. When I finished that film, I felt that I couldn't better this. And I don't think I have been able to.
So how many days it took you to, do that particular project, and what were the challenges that you faced during that phase, which you are saying that you had time limits. So what were the other things, and what were the working timings, because when you're working in such projects, you barely sleep and you're always at work. So how were those experiences for you?
This particular, you asking for this particular project or
Yes,
generally?
yes. Yeah, the one
So
you
for
like. Hmm.
Superman of Malegaon, I think the biggest challenge, and which we didn't expect, was the amount of footage that we have. As is with many documentaries, we had close to around 300 hours of footage, which had to be cut down to 52 minutes in a span of 2 months. Generally, you need at least about 7, 8 months to work on a documentary and kind of shape it. The time limit was a good thing and a bad thing. Good thing because, we could finish it and we had to focus our energy, all our energies into that. Bad thing because something, maybe, if we had been given more time, maybe we could have cracked something else. That thought will always remain. For those 2 months, I think our personal life, everything took a backseat, because we just gave everything to that particular project, because we knew that that's the only way to get it done. And those days we were younger, so we could do this, we could work through the night and not sleep. But it was very fulfilling at the end of the day.
Okay, so were you the first choice of the makers back then? Because like you said, you were younger and now you're an experienced person. People know your work, but back then I don't think they knew your work. You were working in ads
I
and all.
did have it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So how did you get this particular project?
This actually happened through a friend of mine, who was also shooting the film, Garge Trivedi, the cinematographer. And I just happened to be there for the meeting, and it just like, okay, we need an editor. Okay, she seems to be sensible. Chalo, it just happened that way. I don't think anyone planned on, they just wanted an editor, and this friend of mine must have realized, okay, there must be some thing to me. So like, yeah.
So basically, this documentary worked as like a turning point in your career. Can I say that?
Yes, documentary and the film, I think, When I Met Anurag. That's the turning point.
Okay. So also I want to ask like about the women, because it's about Women's Day. So in this particular industry, like, do you think now at least we have enough women film editors? And if not, then what is the main challenge that is stopping them from getting into this particular field?
I think now, compared to at least even 10 years back, we have many women editors. There could be more, but I would attribute that uh, to lack of awareness, lack of, what do you call, because see, we all grow up with such different backgrounds, and, our parents have kind of planned something for us subconsciously. And we also have very limited worldview of what a career can be. Those days there was no awareness. It's still becoming much better with different courses coming in, and people are, figuring it out that this is a possibility. I think if more and more people can be educated in terms of what film industry is about, it's not always about glamour. It's not always about, acting. And I mean, there are different sides to it. There's production, there's design, there's music, there's sound. So I think if generally people are aware of how things work, and so they'll be able to guide their children, or the children themselves will be able to take it up as a career option. Many people I know figure this out much later in life. So they switch professions dramatically. They could be an investment banker who has suddenly become an editor, because he's found his thing late in life. But yeah, I think good awareness and good kind of at least make the industry accessible to people so they understand the work that goes behind making films. That would really help bring on more people.
Okay. Now I'll ask you a very personal sort of question, like career-wise only. Like all of us, do face a phase in our career when we have self-doubts or we underestimate ourselves or we are unhappy. There are some person who make you unhappy. There are certain situations that you will feel, very like you self-doubt yourself, like you're doubting yourself, your work. So did you go through certain, like, that kind of phase ever in your career so far?
Yeah, that happens all the time, especially when you think you're not able to, you won't be able to crack this, or it's not, there's something off. You kind of are a little worried whether you will be able to do, but that self-doubt sometimes is a good thing, because, it's very dangerous and it's very boring when one person knows exactly what has to be done. If you know the solution to everything, then there's no fun in it. Then you stop enjoying. If there are challenges thrown at you and that kind of taps into your little bit of conscience, saying that will you be able to do it, a little self-doubt, that you work on that and you build on that and you use that to actually prove and figure out how to go about things. One does meet a lot of people, one might not like, but then I think the bigger picture is that you and your work, and that's the only thing that should matter at the end of the day, because a lot of nonsense can go on around you. You just have to try and eliminate all that.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, you are. You are. I just wanted to ask because all of us do go through certain phases. Like even I feel sometimes, and it's very normal kind of thing to not really be happy all the times, and not be happy in your work. Sometimes you also question like, have I even chosen the right path? What am I doing with your life, like my life? So these sort of
Yeah.
thoughts. I just wanted to know if you also had
But
certain thoughts.
no, but see, if you enjoy what you're doing, then I don't think there should be any room for this kind of feeling. Yeah, I mean, if there's a challenge thrown at you, which like I said before, if there's a challenge thrown at you and you want to kind of prove to yourself, it's good. But yeah, bottom line is enjoy whatever that you're doing, if you
So
can.
can you just share like any such incident when people were not very sure about you, but that you could do, and others making you unhappy, not really trusting you with what they are giving you, sort of challenging you in a satire way, like being sarcastic about your work. So have you gone through any certain like incident that you could share with us?
No, people have not been sarcastic. They have been pretty good, because I think, or maybe at least I don't know, if, at least not in my to my face. But there have been situations where people are not sure about my work, and and that gets a little hurtful sometimes. You can feel bad, but I think the only way to see, there are some good apples, some bad apples. Now you can't please everyone. So now, I kept telling myself, if you are true to what you do, I don't think it should matter what one person thinks of you. When if there are 10 other people who feel, you're good, then go with that. So, I mean, you are going to meet a lot of negative people around you. Yeah. Negative men, women, everywhere. So, yeah, I mean, you need to learn to protect yourself somewhere.
Okay. Okay. So before you got into filmmaking, or even when you got into filmmaking and you were really new, so were there any editors, film editors that you looked up to, particularly women film editors? Like, were there any inspirations for you once you entered and when you were young and new and you wanted to become some like someone?
Honestly, I didn't want to become, because I had nothing planned, and I didn't want to become like someone, but and my knowledge also was very limited in terms of films and people. But when I started, of course, I mean, the great Renu Saluja, who's a film editor who passed away a few years ago, she was a role model for most of us, so we all kind of understood, her way of working, and so she was a huge role model. And then in my contemporaries, when I started out, there was already Namrata Rao who was working, and so I always looked up. I really liked her work, and kind of that inspired me also to do stuff. So yeah, these two people I would say.
Okay, so when you were working in certain project basically, and did you have people who always होता है कि always checking on you, supporting you, how are you doing, motivating you in during your project while you are editing your stuff, and especially after you are done with your work, after the final project is there, did anybody associated with the film, like especially the on-camera crew, the one who appeared on camera, did they ever get back to you to thank you or to praise your work and like basically be thankful for what you have done to that particular film or project?
I'm so glad you asked this, because most people don't, they just, it's all about themselves. But there are a few people who have been very sweet, you talking about actors or talking about directors?
Both. I also
What?
wanted to know about
Directors,
on-camera people. Directors, I'm sure that they must be in touch with you throughout the project because it's their film and they want it to be done really
right,
well. But I'm also asking about people on camera who do not really
right,
are part of post-production. Like they are
right.
just there to act and then they just wait until it's all done and then come back during promotions. So have they ever come back
That's
to you
what
to thank
happens. And that's what happens mostly. People just don't turn to look back to see who the editor, or for that matter, sound person is. They just thank everybody, and whatever, and like a blanket thank you comes. But then there are still 2, 3 people who have been very sweet, and who recognize what you have brought to the table, and they do thank you personally. There are, but very few of them. But there are.
Can you name like one or two of them who actually called
I,
you and said thanks or something like that?
oh, I'm not sure if I should name it. It's
Okay, no problem.
yeah. But there have been such wonderful actresses, in fact, who have called back, and
Okay, so a follow-up question on this only, like most of the times when a movie turns out to be a hit, a super hit, a blockbuster, so mostly reviewers, they happen to praise and mention only the filmmaker, maybe sometimes the writer, and obviously the actors. But how does it exactly feel, to be such a crucial part of the film as an editor? But still somebody who is unseen and unheard of. Like not a lot of people know you, right? Because I'm a film journalist, I know you are a film editor, and that's how we're talking today. But like for a layman, they will only recognize for like suppose Gangubai Kathiawadi, so they know just Sanjay Leela Bhansali and they know Alia. But they do not really care who has written the film or who has been editing the film. So how does it feel? It's a super hit thing and you are such a crucial part of it, but nobody is actually recognizing you or your work.
no, when it comes to reviews and critics, I'm very happy if I'm not seen or if I'm not mentioned, because that's our job. They shouldn't be able to see the editor. Or only 1 or 2 instances where in my career where the critics have actually named me, for good editing. But I mean, I'm okay. If I mean, yeah, sometimes it's great to see, okay, they have actually recognized your work. But other times I'm very happy that if we're not part of that, because that means that, okay, nothing has bothered you terribly. They might talk in terms of pace, the pace is slow or the length is too long, it could have been cut down. Then that's indirectly referring to our work. They're telling us about what we should have done. I'm happy, no names taken, nothing. I'm like, okay, this is like, our work is done. It's, I can't expect more. But in some films, there have been people who have praised, and it's a nice feeling. Yeah. So
Okay. I think I've asked you most of the questions, but I would like to, wrap it with a question that what do you have to say to people who want to join as a film editor? Because like you said, not a lot of people are aware of this and educated, and they only realize certain things later in their life. So what do you have to say to such people who want to get into film editing, and especially girls who are really, interested? So what is your message for them? Any advice?
um, people who want to get into film editing, I would say one has to be absolutely sure whether, if you want to do this, because this requires a lot of patience. It requires, in terms of mental and emotional strength, to deal with people around you, and also long working hours sometimes, so that pressure is there. But having said that, it's better to, tail someone or be around someone to really understand what editing is about for at least 3-4 months before you take that call, because, it's a sometimes a thankless job, and it's there's no like a fame or something, and I mean, you don't like really, people don't talk about you as much, but it's, you are in it only for the love of it. Otherwise, it becomes another regular job. So, and filmmaking is so vast. So there are, when people say editing, they might not necessarily mean editing. They might think post production, or they might think VFX. So there are different departments in under our wing. So take time off and figure out each, department, and see what is it that speaks to you, and then you work with it. So yes, and yeah, be prepared to be very patient and non-reactive whenever you're
Especially
editing.
girls, I guess, like you said, it's challenging to come in. Like, I think if there is a guy, a fresher guy, and there's a fresher girl, I think the trust will be on the guy much more than the trust will be there for the girl. I think. I don't know if I
That's
might be wrong.
trust, because it's the comfort of male bonding is very different, so when there's a woman and there's like a male director, there's already like a guarded approach to everything. When it becomes like a male thing, there's more like a buddy thing happening, locker room, talk happening. So with it must be difficult for directors also to see a woman there. I mean, some people are very comfortable, that's great, but there's a certain formal code which is being maintained, which is great, sometimes. So yeah, I think that's the only thing. It's not about trust as much as the comfort of it.
No, and trust in the sense I was talking about the opportunities. Like, there are two new people who have entered, and there is this girl and there is this guy. Then will the opportunity first come to the boy, or will it go to the girl, or is it about talent, how talented they are? So I don't know how people choose.
So if there was a boy editor and a girl editor, it only comes down to talent and only comes down to how good you are. I mean, a lot of people, I think, have understood that, thankfully, now. At the same time, there's a lot of intrigue when it comes to a woman editor. Like I said before, they would be intrigued as to, okay, if we take her on board, what is it that what perspective will she bring to the table? So that also works sometimes, but it all comes down to what kind of film and what kind of editor, what kind of approach, what creative head do you want on board to shape the film, what kind of person. So yeah,
Okay.
because there are a lot of male editors who are great at certain kind of genre, and women editors, I would say, are, bring another perspective, whole another perspective to another genre of film. So like, yeah, I mean, you choose according to the film that you have in hand.
Okay. And what's your style of working, basically? Everybody has their own style, like of working, how much they're involved in the particular project, when they get involved in the particular project. Like, do you wait for the film to end and then go with the videos they have, or you're already there while they are shooting so that you can, get a better understanding of what is happening and what's the story? So, what is your style of working?
When the shoot begins, I prefer not, um, sorry, when the script is written and shared with all the HODs, that's when we all get involved and start, assessing the script and bouncing ideas. So we get involved at a very early stage, especially with people who know that the editor has to be involved at an early stage. It helps. Personally, I don't go on shoots because, that colors my imagination. So I prefer not going like on shoot every day. Maybe one of those odd days I don't mind, but I don't go on shoots, and I just let the material come to me, so that have no, like, I'm completely objective, when I approach my material. So yeah, I don't go on shoots. I just wait for it to come to me, and then I scan through stuff and start. putting it
It
together.
must be very, time taking and must be needing a lots of patience, right? Like they have like so many hours of videos in front of you, but they be like you can only take 2 hours of content from this. So how exactly do you choose? Because even as producers, when we are taking an interview, our editors be like, this has to be winded up in 15 minutes. You cannot go more than 15 minutes. So even though we like, just give us 2 minutes or 3 more minutes, they be like, no, 15 minutes is that. You need to cut down whatever you don't want. So it's a very, annoying sometimes. Ki, Arey, ab kya hataye isme se? So how do you
Correct.
cope up with it? It needs lots of patience.
Choosing takes and choosing what you need to put on the film, it takes time. It needs a lot of patience. It all depends on the actor and the performance and the beat of the scene. Basically, if it's an emotional beat, and you need to understand your script, very well, thoroughly, before you actually approach a scene. You need to know what the scene is about, who is it about, and what is going on, and accordingly you build a scene. Editing requires a lot of patience. That is why my family is very, they are fed up, because by the time I come home, all my patience is expended. So I'm very impatient at home.
Yeah, about family only I wanted to ask you because work life I've spoken so much about like with you, but how do you exactly manage work and family? Because your work is very time consuming work. It needs lots of patience and focus. And then you also have to come back at home and people must be expecting, your time, your energy to a lot of things from you. So how do you juggle between work and home? Like how do you keep it in line that nobody complains?
This work-life balance is all a myth. It's all chaos. There's nothing called balance. You think you're balancing, but I'm not too sure if people around you think you are, because uh, no, I have been blessed with a good family, good support system. But there are good days, there are bad days, there are chaotic days, especially when you have like kids and whatever. It's a tightrope walk, this work-life thing. Sometimes you just need to let go of certain things and see that okay, it's going to work out on its own. And sometimes, yeah, you need to give both time, equal time. There is no one answer to this question. I think
Yeah,
each
but
one
then
has to figure out.
usually when they say that this is a working woman, basically, though we say we are working women or whatever, we are expected to give, equal amount of time at home also. We are always thinking about what our cook is cooking, what needs to be, what we need to buy for the home, किसका fees भरना है, we need to pay bills, we need to, ये बच्चों का देखना है, their tuitions, their classes, their extra activities. So somehow I think if there's a father, there's a mother, they say that they are, sharing work equally, but mothers, the women are always thinking extra. I don't think the guy must be thinking so much, but you are burdened with all the work and also all the home. Even though you have shared your work with your your partner, you still have to be keep checking that are you done with this, did you do this. तो वो एक हमेशा चलता रहता है. As a woman I can also relate to this. So how do you get through this certain situation? कि कैसे?
No, so my day is very packed with like, things to organize. Like you said, ye bhi dekhna, wo bhi dekhna. But I try and compartmentalize my mind, So when I'm here, when I'm at home, I'm trying to with very difficulty. I'm only trying to think about what needs to be done and organized for the day. When I'm at work, then I completely cut off. I don't think about what's going on. I don't even take calls sometimes from my own kids unless and until it's an emergency. So I completely cut off from home whenever I'm at work. See, it's not easy, yaar. I mean, there are those days when you have to turn a plate to work because something has happened to your kid, or something goes on, and I just hope that the directors I work with understand this aspect of women editors, because at the end of the day, you have to be here, you have to be everywhere at the same time. Um, all the directors I've worked with know that I have to take one call at 5 p.m. That's my cooks. Ki kya banana hai? And that is the only call. No matter who is around, I get up and I leave the room and I give him instructions. So everybody knows ki aaj kya ban raha hai ghar pe. So this work-life balance is it's not easy. I don't think there is anything called work-life balance, but each day at a time.
So I mean, that do your kids understand your work life? Like, if they must be having certain expectations, maybe some events that's happening in their schools or whatever. So they must be, expecting you. So have you always met their expectations, or have there been times where you couldn't really give them time and had to be sorry for that, or you must be, regretting because you are having work commitments and you couldn't give the time that your kids deserve. So how do you?
Both days happen. There have been many times when I haven't missed a school event. I've tried my best to be there at all times. It's like emotionally being available to your kids. Sometimes you're not able to do that, especially when they're sick, you know. But I have, me and my husband both have, tried to make them understand that this is one aspect of our life. Like a career is equally important. And this is something which we enjoy, at least something which I enjoy. And I tell them that, this I can't let go. So as long as they understand that, and they have understood the fact that I love my work and love it too, like possibly more than anything else. So they know that, and they respect that boundary, and they understand that I have to go if need be. And there are, see, the flexibility of the work is great, because if I know that I don't have to reach at 9 in the morning and leave at 6, I can even go later. But there are those days when I'm not around, when they're sick, or something needs to be done, or have forgotten something completely. But yeah, they've been good with me.
But then, like you said, that you totally forget what's happening in the house when you're at work, and like, but when they are sick, as a mother, I don't think you can be completely off that. My kid is sick. So how do you manage on those days? Because it's not really easy. Mothers are always, worried about their kids. They're always calling, "How are you doing? What's happening?" So how do you cut off during those days?
When my kids are sick and I'm supposed to be at work, I'm always like available to them on call. So I'm not fussing too much, because I know that they can take, at least try to tell them that you need to take care of yourself. I mean, no matter how small, big you are, just I will come back. But somehow I'm able to do that. Yeah, you do get worried. You do get worried, and you do call and check. But then you know that they're okay, they're fine, they're taken care of. Then you're able to do this. I'm not very guilty about many things.
That's actually a good thing. Like, you have all the rights to enjoy your work and have your own time, than being like, you can be everything, but yes,
No,
you.
no. So my own time is the work I do.
Okay.
So my me time is my work. That is like, that's what I would say. I'm going to work because that's my me time.
But there
So
must be one, everybody likes their work, but then there is certain time that now bahut ho gaya, ab to break chahiye, now I can't do this. I mean, you do love your work, but you cannot keep working forever. Like, you need a break at a point so that you can focus better. So, uh, do you take your own breaks, or you just be like me time? Because I don't think it's me time. For me, my me time, I'm very possessive. I cannot have people around me. I need to just, I can just stare at wall, but I can't talk to people. I can't watch anything. So me time working, looking at the screen must be very stressful.
honestly, I can look at the screen for endless number of hours. That is my me time. Till now, I have not felt the need to even pull away. The only time I have to pull away because something has to be done at home. My husband says, you need to take a break. But I've just not felt the need to take a break. I've just been like, I can edit through the day without getting up.
Wow.
But I think that will change. I think that breaking point will come. It's not come till now. Maybe it'll come. But maybe when the work kind of doesn't interest you anymore, then it'll automatically happen. But yeah, I'm so sorry, but I can just continue
Well,
working.
it's a good thing actually. If it's not come yet, then they're really enjoying your work. And we can see all the movies that we have watched. We can see how much efforts you have put. Like, others might not recognize, but as journalists, we do recognize, and we do know that you have done. Actually, I hadn't watched Gangs of Wasseypur, but yes, I was like, no, before interviewing her, I need to watch this film. So I was watching it last night because I don't like violent films, and that is a kind of violent film. So I'm like, I don't want to watch. But yesterday for you, I was like, no, I need to watch this film, and it was
No,
really interesting because I think there is three generation in that movie. There is Sardar Khan, then his father, and then his kids. So it's three
yeah.
generation, and how narration happened and how you show certain visuals and everything. So it was actually beautiful, and how मतलब 2 घंटे के अंदर 3 जनरेशन का दिखा दिया पूरा कहानी, as if we went back to some village, we lived their life and we have come back. So it was actually
Yeah.
very nice, and I was really thankful that finally I watched this film.
I also don't like violent movies. Huh? I don't like action and violence. I don't like these Transformer and Avenger type. And anything. So I wanted to start off with a very. I wanted to do nice, sweet rom coms and whatever. But I started with this, so I'm like,
So how was that experience then? If you don't like violent thing, how can you sit for hours and edit certain things? How do you manage that?
no, because the world that Anurag created was so unique, so you get sucked into it. So you do, and I edited this while I just delivered my first child and I was pregnant with the second one. So there was blood, violence, chopping of bodies happening
Oh,
left, right, center.
oh
Yeah.
God, that was really fun. So, like you said, which was the best movie, like rom-coms, whatever projects you have done, which was the best that you loved as a movie, as a final project? Like, obviously, you might have liked everything, but because you said action is not your genre, so what was the best film that you liked?
Action is my genre. I mean, now everything is my genre. So I
No,
may
no,
choose
as a
action.
person, like watching, if you don't
I
like
like.
to.
I think the film that completely the film that I really in liked in terms of the final product and which was challenging also was a film called Bhosle, which is Manoj Bajpayee is playing the character and Dev Makhija is the director. The unique thing about the film was there are only about 8 to 10 dialogues which Manoj sir has. So it becomes very difficult to cut when there are no dialogues and it's only you're only looking at the action or the body action, body what do you call movement of the actor and gauging a rhythm, sense of rhythm from it. It was a tough film to cut, but it turned out very well. And Dave is amazing because he had certain ideas how he wanted to approach the whole film. So that was challenging, but it was fulfilling. That was, yeah. It had action
So,
also.
I said it was really fun talking. I did not expect this interview to be this fun, and I was laughing like this. It was really nice.
Yeah.
I had actually turned into a stalker to find you. I was literally on LinkedIn. I was on Twitter. I followed you on Twitter. Unfollowed you on Twitter. Then followed you on Twitter. So that because no, I wanted to do that not because to get your attention at least
Yeah,
because
yeah,
there
yeah.
was no message option for me there, and Instagram was too informal way to approach somebody. So I was like, what do I do? But then I was
But
like,
that day, I opened Instagram, I think after 2 months, because I deleted it from my phone because I couldn't handle the distraction. So I deleted it and made it very inaccessible. That day, for some reason, I went into Instagram to generally check on film gossip. And then I went to messages and I saw, okay, so a lot of messages were there.
oh God,
Then
I'm
I
so
promptly deleted it back.
I'm lucky that you finally, replied. I was like, what do I do? And even we have deadlines, and we were like, 26 is the last day. You need to find 7 women. I'm like, what do I do? But finally I got to talk to you. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I just told my editor, finally I got a person at 11 in the night. But as soon as you messaged, and she was like, thank God. And her name is also Shweta. So I'm like, Shweta, I found Shweta. And she was like, wow.
So sweet. Amazing.
Well, thanks,
Mm.
thanks. I think I've asked everything. Okay,
I
okay.
hope.
Last. I just remember. So, what is the latest project that you're working on?
I'm the latest project I'm working on is a film called Unchai with Suraj Bajatia. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's a very
Amitabh Bachchan's Anupam Kher, and yeah,
I'm very excited to work with Suraj sir because I've really grown up watching his films and I'm quite a sucker for Bollywood.
yeah. His films were the best. He doesn't make the films like he used to. I mean, those Hum Saath Saath Hai and all those family movies that we had. It was beautiful. Now nobody makes such movies. Now it's all very practical movies. Those movies were like fantasy movies. You want to sit and watch, and you're in that singing songs and doing everything. And now it's very practical movies. I
You have
don't
a good
know.
time, basically. Everybody's good, and and that's how they are as people. The filmmakers are such amazing, lovely people that at the end of the day, it just boils down to that. Just keep it simple, storytelling, which people enjoy. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited to be a part of this. So I'm having fun with it.
I hope Ujai is one of those kind of movies where we can again sit with the families and watch it and enjoy that. Because it was a
Agree.
magic, there was no negativity at all. You're suddenly in a good world where everybody is so good, happy family, happy bacha, happy mother, happy father. Now it's so practical. It's all about modern day thing. Mother is fighting, father is fighting, kids are
Exactly. People are
depressed.
now making stories where it's easy going. I mean, where we can all sit and watch with our families. And I'm not saying make like a sanitized family film, but like on that topic, yesterday I saw Booth Police with my kids. I totally enjoyed the film because
Yeah.
it's nice and it's still funny and it's still witty. You're enjoying the experience. There's no point making films just for one set of audience and then others left out, and it's just
Yeah, it's बहुत सारे movies में you have to put like दिमाग लगाना पड़ता है, and then you're like you come for entertainment, but you are actually focusing and it's no entertainment. You are burdened and strained and tired after watching. So it's very, I don't know what's happened. Entertainment is no entertainment anymore. It's all about practical thing, biopics, how people are struggling, how modern day lives are. It's very different now. It's nothing like when we were young and we were watching such films. Nothing. It's nothing like that. I don't understand, but yeah, once I actually had to tweeted saying, asking Suj Barjatia, please make films like you used to. Suddenly the Suchai thing came. So we were like, thank God, finally.
that's a very it's a very un-Sural Bajatia film, but it's still I mean his zone is like so like amazing. That's such an amazing world he creates that you want to be a part of it, and this is how things should be. Why
Okay.
do we mess up things for ourselves? There's no need to.
Yeah. So is the shoot done? Are you already editing this stuff or are you waiting for it?
We have started editing, the shoot is still going on.
Okay. Okay. Fine, fine. I think I've taken a lot of your time. Thank you so much, for making time. And please stay in touch. You're such a fun person to, stay in touch with.
I'm glad.
I won't mind interviewing you every alternative month. It was so
Oh
cool.
dear.
Thank you
No, no, I'm
so
glad.
much.
Sorry, I didn't check your messages before, but yeah.
No problem, no problem. Now please don't scene zone me.
No, 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 no. I have your number, so
Yeah,
it's fine.
okay. Cool. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. It was fun talking to you.
Yeah. Chalo, have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Bye.